Hey guys, it's Daniel back with another perspective, and today we have a little video by CNN. Thank you, Case Study QV, for providing this video that is talking about the infrastructure bill that Biden's planning. As you know, we've talked on the show many times that infrastructure bill is just too small for the size of the problem America has. You need at least $4 trillion, I assume without corruption, to just get everything up to a C rating. Biden is opening his bid at $2 trillion, so I don't think we're going to go that far. However, this is, again, something that AOC should be calling out. This is something that she should be focusing on. Let's see if AOC is going to do anything about this, especially since it just came out that she turned out to be one of the least effective congresspeople in America, which is saying quite a bit, but don't let me interrupt. Let's see what the video has to say.
And you mentioned Joe Manchin, who, I mean, let's just admit it, we're going to mention Joe Manchin for every piece of legislation the Democrats try to get through. Kirsten Sinema as well. For every one of those you get, do you jeopardize losing a progressive in the House because the majority is so narrow there?
Let's think. Are the progressives actually going to fight back on any of this? Well, we saw when Force the Vote happened, a rare moment where there was both structure and ability to, I don't know, force a vote by holding Nancy Pelosi's speaker seat hostage. What did they do? Did they, say a lot of people are behind this, this seems like a reasonable thing to do? Did they go, we're going to try, but we're not going to get very far? Or did they blame the people trying to start the movement? And we obviously know it was C. So when he asks, is AOC or the squad or any of these other progressives going to fight for us? My answer is quite simple. Why would they fight now when they continue to ignore us? When in previous times when there were better odds for fighting, they said no and in fact attacked us for even suggesting it. So I don't know the answer, but I think I can guess. Let's continue.
Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted this out. This is not nearly enough. The important context here is that $2.25 trillion spread out over 10 years. For context, the COVID package was $1.9 trillion for this year alone, with some provisions lasting 2 years. Needs to be way bigger. And
see, here's a big issue that I have been just very recently noticing as a pattern with AOC that I sort of makes me even less happy with her actions. How close is she to Donald Trump in action? They both don't really pass any bills. They're very bad at legislating or getting bills passed that donors don't already want to happen. They spend most of their day tweeting. They don't really actually do that much with their tweeting. Well, that's not true. Trump was able to do a little bit with his tweeting. AOC just seems to be gathering. AOC seems great at fundraising. Trump is great at fundraising. But I just don't see them doing anything. I think that they're actually quite similar, more than either of them would probably like to expect out of each other. But they seem to not be able to do that much. And so in this case, AOC is writing out a really nice tweet that says maybe what I would say, that this is a pittance for infrastructure. Infrastructure is a great turnaround. It actually really helps the economy when you have really well-functioning roads, bridges, infrastructure, utilities, etc. We just saw that blow over in Texas in just the wrong way. So the problem, again, that you have to have with AOC is that a lot of people, I think, are starting to wake up to this is, what is she actually doing besides tweeting? What was Trump doing besides tweeting? Not a whole lot.
Bigger. And let's remember that the progressives were unsatisfied with the COVID relief bill, but they went along to get it through.
I think that's sort of the point I'm making in a nutshell.
Are we going to be looking at that end of the spectrum this time around for potentially losing some of the Democrats you need to get it through the House?
Yeah. Now, we've seen this in kind of in policy priorities at one after another, where certainly in looking at the Senate, which certainly swings more towards the center, we have wondered whether the left will flex that increasing muscle they have in Congress. This will be another test. Now, certainly progressives want the package to be bigger. That's no question. The question is whether they are willing to stop Biden's agenda to make that happen, whether they're threatening to kill the legislation overall to make that happen. In the House, that's going to require them sticking together and ways that we've not really seen that progressive caucus able to do. In the Senate, it only takes one individual senator, so you could have a Sanders or a Warren or whoever to decide to hold up that legislation. But we just know that the center has been way more willing to put guardrails on this legislation than the kind of left has been so far. If that changes, that will be a new dynamic in this Congress and another flank that President Biden has to contend with.
This is the growing issue. This is the issue I think a lot of people probably saw before me, let's be honest. But the progressives aren't doing anything. They're not just not doing anything. They're not even trying to put stuff forward. When we came together and tried to get forced the vote to happen, it was something that they could latch on to again. We were chewed off, and still we are derided and attacked to this day for taking a position that, in retrospect, I think after the time came that they could do anything, all the squad was like, man, it would be a really good idea if we did something that had some leverage. So, like, our plan. This is the problem, again, that we have, that they're not going to do anything. They're not going to fight back. They're not going to stop Biden from doing everything he wants because they're scared. They're scared to act. They don't think they should act. They don't know how to act. They are just out of their league. I think that, it's true that these progressives really aren't corrupt in the same way that we normally talk about, where it's don't take big money. But I think it's exposed perhaps an equal weakness, that the progressives that we elect into office have to have a backbone. They have to be willing and have experience of taking very sharp criticism, of having people around them not like them. We don't want AOC or the squad to be liked by Nancy Pelosi. We want them to be contending with Nancy Pelosi, not calling her mama bear, not doing all this stuff, not sending out like $140,000 like AOC just did to centrist Democrats as a way of trying to get back in the club. We need fighters. We need people who are going to try to do the right thing, whether or not it makes them popular in their new group of friends. We need people who are going to fight for a better future, fight for Americans, not tweet, not say things on Twitter and accomplish absolutely nothing. It was very surprising when AOC came in, was at 10th to last place of all the Democratic House for actually getting things done. She wanted to pass some bills, couldn't get anyone to go with her. Bernie Sanders, at least, was the amendment king, something I really appreciated, that he got stuff done. He got a lot of amendments done. Now, the problem was he never actually brought up that he did that stuff. When he was asked in both the primaries, he's like, I don't know the answer to a question that he should know the answer to. He needs to fight for himself. AOC needs to actually act on her own. But until that happens, we're just going to keep Biden passing terrible or wanting terrible bills passed. We're going to have the Senator, your Joe Manchins of the world, hold the entire country hostage to some degree to get exactly what he wants. And we're going to have that same base of power in the House and the Senate under Bernie Sanders just do whatever the Democratic Party wants, as if they could have been anyone else that was there, but they aren't. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time.